Hey everyone, Blake Hero here, and today I'm coming at you guys with a new video. I know it's been a little while. It's been a little while since I've posted. I just really haven't been enjoying the Omni hero deck as much recently with its increased brick count, increased card count, less non-engine. The deck just started feeling less and less competitive, so I started exploring other options. I apologize for not being as active, and I'm sorry for not answering everybody's questions like I usually do. I just kind of lost passion from the Omni hero deck, but I'm really hoping for the masked heroes that were revealed in the OCG for the tactical hero deck that I'm hoping that fixes some of the Omni hero issues. Hopefully that'll bring my passion back for that deck. The things I've really been enjoying recently have been this deck, which is going to be Fiendsmith HERO. It fixes a lot of the problems that the Omni deck has, as well as being just more of a modern take on the hero deck. I'll go through some of the pros and cons of the Fiendsmith variant of this deck. Of course, there's way more pros to playing this than cons if you're going to compare it strictly to Omni. But yeah, the other thing I'm really looking forward to is going to be Gym Night. I have a spreadsheet coming, and I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy content if I decide to make it on Gym Night, even though it's not hero, because it's kind of really what I was hoping the hero support to be one day. So I'm hoping you guys still find enjoyment in that, and hopefully I can convert some people over to also playing Gym Night. Post Alliance Insight and post the April ban list. You can actually see me reacting to how much I loved the ban list in this little clip from the YCS Houston live stream.
Nightmare Griffin, Link Decoder, Abyss Dweller, and Bahamut Shark.
It basically, the Fiendsmith stuff went untouched. Shifters go on, which makes this deck a lot better too. The ban list really paved the way for this deck to be playable, as well as the new card Vicious Claws from Alliance Insight. Vicious Claws is one of the worst cards to put in the Omni hero deck because it actually doesn't add really anything, but it's really, really good and completely necessary for this Fiendsmith variant. So I won't waste any of you guys' time. We'll just get right into it, and I'll go into some of the pros and cons of deciding to play the Fiendsmith variant of the deck instead. So we'll start with the hero cards, of course. So we're starting with 3 Hero Lives and 3 Adusted Gold for the 3 ofs. A Hero Lives is the best starter in the deck. A Hero Lives by itself checks for Nibiru, and if they have it, you still end on 3 interruptions through it. And Adusted Gold is going to be our light Fiend monster, what kind of gives the engine a lot of synergy. Both of these are 1-card combos. A Hero Lives is the best 1-card combo in the deck. Adusted's decent 1-card combo in the deck. It's basically the old Unchained board, but you lose the Vicious Claws pop if you start with Adusted Gold because you use your normal summon, but it is still a 1-card combo, and you want to max out on it because it really helps you. If you draw one of the other targets, Adusted Gold can pretty much grab anything in your deck. So definitely max out on both of these. For our Evil Hero package, we're playing 1 Dead End, 1 Necrom, 1 of the new Vicious Claws, and 1 Dark Contact. And for the rest of the hero monsters, for Elemental Heroes, we're playing 1 Stratos, 1 Shadow Mist, and 1 Vion. So this is the extent of the hero cards you're playing. Basically, what you're using all of the hero cards for is to facilitate your Fiend Link plays, and the hero cards kind of give you a backbone, as well as Vicious Claws also gives you an additional interrupt by setting him up in the graveyard. Basically, if you don't know what he does, he is a free summon by targeting a hero monster, and then if he's in the graveyard and one of your monsters is destroyed, you can summon him back out once per duel and destroy a card as long as you have a monster that lists Dark Fusion on it, which you will always set up in all of the combos. So mainly, one of the big pros of playing this approach is there really aren't that many bricks. Dark Contact does nothing on its own, Vicious Claws does nothing on its own, and Necron doesn't do anything on its own. But even if you draw some of these, it's not the end of the world because you're able to basically get benefits. If you draw one of your not so great cards to draw, you're still able to full combo because it's not like a Garnet or anything, as well as it'll boost the power of your play instead of you just going -1. So we cut down to only about 13 hero cards in the main deck, unfortunately, but that's kind of how you have to build your deck around. But yeah, so even though these are all 1-ofs, like the Dead End, Prison, Stratos, and Vion, those are still combo even if you draw them. So I'll kind of show, since this is such a different approach than the Omni hero deck, I'll be sure to show a combo at the end, and stay tuned for a combo video at a later date. So that's all of the hero cards. Now we're going to get into the supplementary engine. That's kind of the backbone of the entire deck, is the Fiendsmith cards. So really doesn't need much introduction. These cards have been very competitive staples for a long time. So we're playing 3 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, 1 Lurie, 1 Sanct, which I'll talk about, 3 Fiendsmith Tract, and the 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise. A lot of this doesn't really need much to be said, but I will go into the spell cards a little bit. I know definitely one of the cons of this deck is the fact that Tract's really expensive, but Sanct is actually really good in this deck. In a lot of Fiendsmith decks, the Sanct restriction of only being able to attack with Fiend Monsters really matters in a lot of decks, but it doesn't really matter in this deck because it's a lot of Fiend Monsters, and it gives you an additional search target off of Engraver because Tract can also grab a Dusted Gold for added synergy. So if you open Engraver Tract could summon Lurie for an extender, or it can get you access to a Dusted Gold depending on your hand. So one thing you could do if you're trying to play this deck and you are on a bit of a budget is you could swap the ratio. I definitely will want access to at least 1 Tract because Tract's going to be your follow-up, because Sanct, other restrictions, you have to control only light fiends, which you might not on turn 3. So you could just switch this ratio if you're on a budget. But yeah, I mean, this is the Fiendsmith package for the deck. It's a pretty heavy Fiendsmith package because we're playing Fiend Link, but I'll get into how these cards interact with the deck later. Next up is the free agents. I didn't really know where to put these cards because they don't really fit in the categories that we have, but I'll just show the Unchained package, which is going to be 1 Unchained Soul of Shavara, 1 Escape of the Unchained, and 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is just like one of the best extenders in the deck. You can dump Necrom to summon your Dead End Prison to get going without normal summoning, which is great. So Foolish is just a great all-around card, and I didn't really know where to put it in categories because it's not quite engine, but it's not quite non-engine either. And then we're playing this Unchained package, which is kind of what gives the deck its entire end board. The Unchained Soul of Shavara is just the 1 necessary brick that you have to play, and you grab it off of Yama. And Escape of the Unchained, the reason why we're playing this trap over the other trap to revive an Unchained is because we're going to use Escape of the Unchained to pop our own Soul of Rage, which is going to let us control when we want to use Vicious Claws effect to give us an additional pop. So that's it for the engine, really. And that leaves a lot of room for, you guessed it, non-engine. Now, non-engine is kind of what runs Yu-Gi-Oh! Your deck really needs to be able to play a lot of non-engine, and one of the biggest pros of being able to play this Fiend Link, Fiendsmith, evilhero pile deck is the fact that you get to play so much non-engine compared to any other hero deck. So we'll just get right into it. The actual card choices is going to change a lot format to format, but really the main thing is the fact that you get to fit 17 non-engine in a 43 card deck. So that's unheard of in the hero deck. Just being able to fit this much non-engine gives you so much control. And also the way that the deck works, there's a lot of the combos are 1 card combos, and your 2 card combos that you have are also 1 card combos. So it just trades into interruption so much better than the Omni hero deck, for example. And these non-engine kind of help you fill out your hand with cards that just do something on their own that helps you weather the storm against your opponent. The reason why we're playing hand traps, I believe, in this variant of the deck is this deck is not amazing going second. It's fine going second because you have a lot of 1 card combos, but really you want to lower the ceiling of their board and then be able to break it. Really the only card choice I'll say something about is the fact that Droll in this deck is really nice because this deck is still weak to the Charmies, which is a similarity to the Omni hero deck, but this deck doesn't lose to Lancia, this deck doesn't lose to Droll, and it only loses to the Charmies, while the Omni deck loses to all of it. So basically, you can even Droll yourself in this deck and still get to play, because Droll seems to be very popular right now. So, but yeah, we get to play 17 non-engine in our 43 card deck, which gives us a good chance to draw 2, which is really what you want in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Next up is the extra deck. So the extra deck, we're going to start with the hero fusions. The only 2 hero fusions we're playing is 1 Darkest Night and 1 Inferno Wing Backfire. And this card is kind of what brings the whole deck together. Being a level 6 Fiend monster is just so good for this deck. On summon, it can grab you the Vicious Claws out the deck, which is kind of what we're going to do in a lot of the combos. This card is just so necessary. And Darkest Night is definitely the flex spot of the extra deck. I'm just playing it right now because I like having another hero fusion, but you could definitely replace this with Exciton Knight, with Chaos Angel, and with Muckraker of the Underworld. All I think are good options for this deck. Definitely cuttable for the Darkest Night, but it does help you have an OTK using both of these cards. So that's another one of the cons I can definitely see. If somebody likes to end on a lot of hero end board pieces, this deck unfortunately is not going to do that, and I can definitely see that. So if you like cards like Plasma, Dark Law, DPE, this probably isn't the deck for you because this deck doesn't play any of those cards. But this is the most competitive thing I think you could do with hero cards currently, so that's why I wanted to show it off, because that's what this channel is all about. Next up, we're going to get into the Fiendsmith side of the extra deck, which is the majority of the extra deck. This deck, just so you can get like a conceptual idea, ends on this way more than ends on this. You still play this for the trap card, but the Wave King High Seizure is going to be your end board piece almost always. Next up, we're playing the Fiendsmith fusions. We're playing the Duke of Demise, the Aerial Eater, and the Necroquip Princess. This deck makes really good use of Necroquip Princess. You can get draws a lot of the times. Aerial Eater is how you're going to go from your Fiend stuff back into your hero stuff. And then the Duke of Demise is really helpful when you draw one of the cards you don't really want to draw. And it helps you get some of the bricks out of your hand. Also, his graveyard effect is crazy in this deck because you can grab back a Dusted Gold or Engraver if you haven't used it yet to get another extender, or use the Dusted to get into Dark Contact to allow you to fuse. And then finally, we're playing the Unchained package. We have the 1 Yama, we have the 1 Anguish, the 1 Rage, and the Rage into the SP for the interrupts, and finally the Abawaku. All these cards are pretty much mandatory except for like Anguish, but Anguish comes up a lot of times when you get into Birud, which isn't the most popular card right now, but you never know what you're going to run into, so I like the Anguish for going second as well. So just to give an idea of what the deck can do, I kind of want to show the best 1 card combo that's not a Hero Lives, because that combo, there's a lot of nuances of like when you get into Birud and stuff, while this is just the best, sets up the most interruptions 1 card combo with the Engraver. So in my next video, I'll show off the rest of the combos, but for this video, just kind of want to give some context of how the deck works because it's so different. So let's just show what we can do with Engraver, which is the best 1 card combo. So we're going to start with Engraver, and we're going to add Tract, or we could add Sanct if we wanted to, but we'll just do the Tract play. It's basically the same thing. So we'll do Tract. Tract will search Lurie, and then we'll discard Lurie. Then we'll activate Lurie's effect to summon himself out. We'll link 1 into Requiem, and we'll use Requiem's effect to summon out Lacrima. Lacrima, the Crimson Tears effect, is going to send a Fiendsmith card from our deck to the graveyard. So we can send the Fiendsmith in Paradise. And then we can use the Engraver to summon himself back by putting back the Lurie. Here, if we had a Dusted Gold, what we could do is we could make the Necroquip Princess and get a draw there. But because we're not doing that for this play, we really don't have to go through Necroquip. So we're just going to link these 2 away into Sequence. And we'll use Sequence's effect. And we'll fuse by putting the Requiem and the Lacrima back into our deck to summon Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater's effect is going to dump a Fiend Monster, and the way we're going to get back into that is by dumping Sinister Necrom. Necrom can banish, we can summon the Dead End Prison, and then we can use his effect, dumping for cost, the Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist's effect can search a hero monster, and we can search Stratos because we have not normal summon yet. We can normal summon the Stratos and activate Stratos' effect to search out the Adusted Gold. We can use Adusted Gold's effect now to search out the Dark Contact. And we can activate the Dark Contact using the Dead End Prison that can be used as fusion material for any monster now, and the Necrom to summon out the Inferno Wing. Inferno Wing's effect can add a card that lists Dark Fusion on it, so we can search out the Vicious Claws. And then we can take 2 level 6 Fiend Monsters to make Caesar, so we're protected from the Birud the rest of our combo. We can then go Vicious Claws, targeting the Stratos to summon itself out. Then we can take 2 Fiend Monsters, link up into Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, and then Yama's effect will search an Unchained card from our deck to our hand. We can search Shavara. Next, we can use Shavara's effect, targeting the Yama to destroy it, to summon out. And then we can link summon these 2 monsters up into Soul Rage, which will trigger the Shavara, setting Escape of the Unchained. So this may not look like a lot, but really it is, and it's a very layered board, and it's really hard for a lot of decks to interact with. So we have 2 negates for a special summon of a monster with Caesar. We have Escape of the Unchained, which will target a card they control, target the Rage, which would then trigger the Vicious Claws because we have a monster that lists Dark Fusion on it in a Dusted Gold. We can trigger the Yama, banish to summon back the Soul Rage, and we can trigger Soul Rage to add back Engraver for follow-up. So we get to summon, and then we still have Soul Rage with one of their monsters into SP, which will banish another monster. And then we have SP to tag out to banish one of their monsters. And we also still have Fiendsmith in Paradise, dump Desiree, and then Desiree can put back the Sequence to send another monster they control. So this deck just has a lot of interaction and really layered interaction with just 1 card combos. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I think it's a really cool deck, and I think it's the most competitive way you can play Hero right now, and you really needed Vicious Claws to come out for that. So now post Alliance Insight, I think this is the best way until, of course, a ban list. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will try to get back to them. Stay tuned for more content for this deck and Gym Night in the future. I hope some of you guys are interested in that at least. because it's something I'm pretty passionate about. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to jadenyuki. He is the one who kind of showed me this deck and showed a lot of people this deck, and I kind of streamlined it a little bit, kind of cut some of the bricks from his variant. And yeah, I think it's a really cool deck, and I hope you guys test it out and let me know what y'all think. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm gonna be putting out a combo video on this deck. Peace.